Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Tonight on Our News, bloodshed in the Capitol as two more murders are recorded hours apart. The latest on the investigations coming up. Plus, a break-time stabbing at a local junior high school puts one boy in hospital and two others in police custody. And later, we are hours away from the royal visit, why community protests will proceed. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, two men gunned down in separate incidents just 14 hours apart. The most recent murder occurring just after 8 this morning on Stewfish Drive just off Carmichael Road. Police Press Liaison Officer Superintendent Audley Peters says police responded to reports of a shooting at an apartment complex.
In the parking lot, they found a male lying next to a vehicle with wounds to his head that were consistent with gunshot. The EMS technicians were called in. They assessed him and pronounced him lifeless. Our preliminary facts in this instance is that the victim was leaving his residence to go to his vehicle when four males armed with firearms approached him and shot him fatally.
Peters says police are following promising leads in that case. Another man lost his life just after 6 p.m. yesterday. Superintendent Peters telling the media last night that investigators met a man they believe is in his early 30s lying in the streets with gunshot wounds to the head. The incident took place at Wrights Lane off Wolf Road. Peters says a suspect has been taken into custody and is assisting with the investigation.
Our initial investigations revealed that the male was standing in the street when a small vehicle pulled up from off of Wolf Road. Two males exited and discharged their weapons at him, resulting in being fatally wounded.
And police are questioning two AF Adderley students for break-time stabbing on the school campus earlier today. According to administrators, students were bumping into each other in the hallway when a male student allegedly pulled out a knife and stabbed another male in the back under his arm. Our News understands the victim walked to the office and his wound didn't appear to be life-threatening. He was treated by the school nurse and then taken to hospital by ambulance. Two suspects are now in police custody for the incident. The school was locked down for a period after the stabbing and students were searched. School principal Dr. Virginia Romer says despite daily searches as students enter the campus, weapons are still winding up on school grounds.
Then we learned that as much as cell phones are not allowed on campus, our girls in particular are bringing their cell phones, but they're putting it in their bra area, which we don't touch per se. And so that's an area that they can get away with stuff also. And it seems as though our boys are putting it in the area of their private area. So that's another area that we don't touch in terms of checking for, because they'll say we violating their body. And so we definitely have to improve upon with the metal detector to see if we can pick up on some of these things.
National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says officials stand ready to station police at schools if necessary.
But certainly the Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, and I stand ready to put police into the schools and obviate the debate that we used to have about whether police should be in the school. I trust that is urgent enough for Marco City and St. Barnabas.
Meanwhile, opposition deputy leader Shannon Dawn Cartwright is questioning the government's plan for crime. In a statement, Cartwright said the government and the opposition are duty-bound to hold honest and frank strategic national security discussions. Addressing Parliament, Cartwright says the nation is in crisis.
The Bahamian people are sincerely asking every day, every hour as the pictures go through social media and as persons in their communities surround the riddled bodies of young men in our country in particular. They're asking a sincere question about where is the plan to address these issues. And that's not a political statement. That's not a political statement. Where are the plans to address these issues? I know that the honorable member for Freetown in his communication talked about a number of things, but the Bahamian people want to know, what are we going to do in the main?
Well, a back and forth broke out in Parliament this morning as members accused each other of victimization. Bethany McDermott was there and has this report.
The argument started after F&M leader Michael Pintard questioned why people in the public service were being redeployed, seemingly because of their political beliefs. However, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Public Service Fred Mitchell defended the move as standard following a change in government.
There's a new sheriff in town, and the new sheriff wants to organize things in a different fashion. So, as a manager, you have a right to manage and choose who to manage. And once you don't violate rules of due process, I'm not sure what the issue is.
However, Mitchell's explanation didn't sit well with East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson, who said Mitchell's explanation could be used as an excuse for getting rid of people because of their party affiliation.
We have to do it in a manner where you don't exceed that position to where it is and I'm not going to use any political party, but where it is a political party who is removing someone because they are affiliated with a different political party.
In response, Mitchell accused the former F&M administration of rampant victimization of PLP supporters. He even went as far as saying it was perfected under the former administration, noting that PLP supporters were terrified under the former government. Pintard, however, called it laughable, prompting Mitchell to point to several failed anti-corruption lawsuits pursued by the Minister administration against former PLP politicians.
And put him in chains. That's what y'all did. That's what y'all did. And no basis for it. None. That's what y'all did. Dion Smith. You send the police in for his own property. That's what y'all did. That's what y'all did. Frank Smith. I mean, Frank Smith. I mean, and on and on and on. All of them failed. Millions of dollars spent.
Pintard argued that the new leadership of the F&M should not be judged by the actions taken under former leader Dr. Hubert Minnis.
We could litigate the history, but that's not going to be helpful right now. I'm asking by way of the chair, the member for Fox Hill, given the players who are in place, what our track record has been in public life, those of us who will be in place in 2026, you're saying that you're terrified.
Reporting for our news, I'm Bethany McDermott.
An early morning blaze today tearing through a local business, leaving charred remnants in its wake. Police Press Liaison Officer Superintendent Audley Peters says the fire department was alerted to the fire at Bahamas Liquidation Center on East-West Highway around 2 a.m. Peters says once the fire was extinguished, officers entered the building to assess the damage. While it's still early, investigators have not found evidence pointing to arson.
On the arrival of the fire responders, they met the northwestern portion smoldering in smoke. The officers attempted to access the building. However, the manager decided not to have them go into the building, but rather fight the fire from on the west side. And as they were fighting the fire, the building collapsed like a domino, and so they had to change their strategy.
Winds dying down a bit today. Our meteorologist, Greg Thompson, is in the Weather Center with the latest. Good evening, Greg.
Thanks, Christina. Welcome everybody for our first look at weather on this warm Wednesday evening. Temperatures near the 80-degree mark right now with a few passing clouds. Still a bit breezy on the outside. Your winds out at southeast at 14 miles per hour and your field strike temperature very, very warm, 80 degrees. On our satellite, that ridge of high pressure that's dominating our weather is starting to back out towards the east. Left some isolated showers, mainly between Andros and the Florida Keys. And those showers are drifting towards the north with that southeasterly flow. We also have a few isolated showers developing along North Andros, but we are watching a frontal boundary across the southeast United States. Expect to get that near sometime late tomorrow and into Friday. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, amid planned protests of the upcoming royal visit, excitement fills the air at a new Providence primary school. Plus, Grand Bahama Children's Home ready for a royal welcome. And later, downtown merchants meet with the tourism minister to discuss the state of affairs in the city center. That's coming up when our news returns.
got size at 6'5".
Hi, this is Shamik.
Members of the Rastafarian community plan to protest during the royal visit. Tonight, Jared Higgs has their reaction to video showing members of their community in Jamaica chanting and teaching Prince William how to beat their drums.
The message is seemingly clear.
We can't just say now, we're glad to see you, and we welcome you with full arms and don't speak concerning our fundamental rights and justice.
With Prince William and Kate Middleton set to arrive in the country on Thursday, Priest Rithman McKinney says a group of Rastafarian organizations are preparing to have their voices heard through a protest.
So we don't want to be fooled or to be tricked now that all is good and dandy and we get our fundamental rights, because this Westminster system still keeping us oppressed. Because even those who represent the system, they say we need to change the system. But yet they're still swearing to be loyal to our heirs and successors have to be God.
The Rastas are known for their agitation for reparations for the transatlantic slave trade and colonialism. They want compensation and repatriation to Africa for those who want to return. Chair of the Bahamas National Reparations Committee, Dr. Naimbi Hall Campbell Dean, shared a similar view about the visit.
We think that this visit is an opportunity to really lay squarely on the shoulders of William and Kate the crimes against humanity for the genocide of the original people of this land and the crimes against humanity for enslavement and the transatlantic slave trade, as well as colonialism and the underdevelopment that it left in this nation.
Meanwhile, in Jamaica, the royals engage with some Rastas, much to the dismay of McKinney, who says while they would welcome the royal pair to their camp, they would only have them observe and wouldn't allow them to beat their drums. He says there's a fine line between being diplomatic and being subservient.
We can entertain them with some food and drink, so be it, but not to say, well, you part of our ceremony, because it's not yours. This belongs to us. And we use this for liberation. You don't need to be liberated. We need to be liberated. So it's no way you're supposed to be a part of our ceremony.
The royal couple will make stops in New Providence, Abaco, and Grand Bahama during their 3-day stay. While there have been some protests around their presence in Belize and Jamaica, there have also been displays of support. Nevertheless, McKinney says the Rasta community in the Bahamas has its own message that it wants the royals to receive.
We want total fundamental rights and justice from the British Empire. So our word to them is to note that we still are fighting for our fundamental rights and justice. We're still looking for reparation and repatriation, and that's what we've been talking about.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Meanwhile, families of all murder victims' president Candy Gibson says she plans to demonstrate during the official royal visit of Duke and Duchess of Cambridge this week. Gibson cited recent allegations and court cases that center on child abuse as the reason for the protest.
We have some demands. Some stuff are on the books. In fact, some stuff are on the books and nothing really being done with the stuff on the books. So we asking the government to amend, address, if need be, even create. But we want to make sure that persons in our country feel safe. We want to open up outlets for females to be able to run to and come out of domestic violence situation. We want to help children have a safe space.
Assistant Superintendent Craig Stubbs says police plan to speak with individuals planning on demonstrating during the royal visit. When asked whether there are plans for more security, Stubbs says police see no need, but will make decisions based on how those conversations with activists go.
We're going to sit and have a dialogue with those individuals, and we will make decisions based on what their response is to us.
While some Bahamians may be indifferent to the royal couple's visit, the students and faculty at Sybil Strawn Primary School are excited and ready. Our Jerome Sawyer paid a visit to the campus ahead of Friday's official event.
It's their moment in the spotlight, and they're pulling out the stops to make it as near perfect as possible, with the excitement growing each day.
Could you imagine being told that you are going to meet a prince, a real live prince?
School principal Glendina Mills says everyone on campus is feeling the excitement.
And so they're practicing and getting ready, and all the excitement is here. And not only for our students, but our staff members as well. So they're looking for their gowns and making sure that they're all dressed and ready for the occasion.
A nervous yet excited head boy is busy practicing his minister's introduction.
I'm trying to project my voice and make sure people could understand my words properly and make sure people can hear me properly.
As these young ladies, part of the all-primary school choir, fine-tuned their voices for Friday's national anthem.
I think most of my family will be there, and the Duke and Duchess is watching me while the other people are watching. So it's going to be a very exciting time for me.
Excited, little nerve-wracking, but still excited.
Why is it nerve-wracking?
Because we're singing in front of the Duke and Duchess. And
it's nerve-wracking, I get it. Teacher of the Year, Sherelle Roll, is a part of the official greeting party.
Well, I must say, along with all the excitement, I am really honored. I'm appreciative just to know that I actually have face-to-face, up front, close and personal with royalty. I'm really honored for that.
And behind it all, still a lesson.
Well, I do believe with the younger generation, it all calls for information, okay? A lot of persons make comments and gestures because they're not informed. So as a school, it's all about informing our children, letting them know why are we celebrating, what is the visit all about, what does the Platinum Jubilee mean for us as Bahamian citizens, what is our connection to Britain.
Whether it was Queen Elizabeth herself, the late Prince Philip, Prince Charles, or any other member of the royal family, school visits are pretty much a staple when it comes to these royal visits. And that means over the next few days or so, these kids, their teachers and organizers from the Ministry of Education and other agencies are doing everything possible to ensure that this is a favorite for the royals on their visit. Reporting for our news, I'm Jerome Sawyer.
Well, the Duke and Duchess will also visit the Grand Bahama Children's Home when they travel to the Second City on Saturday. Executive Director June Hutchinson says administrators are grateful for the opportunity to bring awareness to the home's plight, which welcomes some 30 kids at any given time. Despite a government subvention, Hutchinson says the home faces a shortfall of about $400,000. And while clothing and feeding the children remains a priority, Hutchinson says the visit will lend to their nurturing as they are extremely excited to meet a real-life prince and princess.
We're just excited for persons in the community to be able to learn about us. We've planned some things for the Duke and Duchess to be able to get to meet the children. Staff will also get to meet the children. We have a hope mosaic that we have been able to put together, which both Duke and Duchess will have a part in, and we'll be able to mount it for future talking points as people come. And the mosaic was created to bring past, present, and future for the children, to make that connection with Dorian that they were deeply devastated by, and then COVID, which came along with all of its tragedies. Having them the hope of the future and what's to come with that is very important for us.
When our news comes back from the break, merchants in the city center meet with the tourism chief. Plans for a public-private partnership straight ahead. A donation that puts the slogan, "The police are my friends," in action. We have the details when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5".
This is our news. Welcome back. The government is looking to put a public-private partnership in place to manage the downtown area, according to Minister Responsible Chester Cooper. Speaking to downtown businesses, Cooper says the government will apply existing laws and introduce new ones to manage downtown.
But this interest
cannot translate into inaction, if we cannot figure out how to entertain and attract millions of visitors to spend their vacations with a safe, diverse, dynamic, and varied experiences that changes and grows our economy, making our product more interesting and more inviting over time, then I believe we may not fully comprehend the business that we are in.
Back in 2009, the Downtown Nassau Partnership, another public-private initiative, was formed to oversee the restructuring and revitalization of the downtown area. Pollution, outdated building covenants, and vagrants are expected to be addressed by this new partnership.
As far as our vagrancy issues in downtown, those are being addressed by the police and through amendments to the Mental Health Act that will be coming. Harassment by those who may be mentally challenged and or have substance abuse issues is not something Bahamians or visitors desire.
Meanwhile, police are giving away groceries to Montel Heights residents in an effort to improve relations and cooperation. This is the second giveaway hosted for the day, with police donating groceries in the Baintown community earlier on. Assistant Commissioner Craig Stubbs says officers cannot police the Bahamas without the community's assistance. Montel Heights residents say they are appreciative of the donation and welcomed the increased police presence in the area.
It's up a million, because people around here really ain't, no jobs and things like that, and everybody just striving,
The young people, they need some type of more stability for them, something to do with their life instead of just sitting around doing not anything.
Greg is back in the Weather Center when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5".
Hi, this is Salute.
Welcome back to our news. Sunny skies and breezy conditions continue. Greg is back in the Weather Center with a look ahead.
Thanks again, Christina. Welcome back, everybody, for our second look at weather. That ridge of high pressure cross area that's been dominating our weather is starting to back out towards the east, keeping us breezy and warm with that southeast to southerly flow, bringing in that warm tropical air mass. Couple isolated showers between Andros and the Florida Keys, but a big storm system across the eastern United States that's going to be getting here sometime late tomorrow night and into Friday. Some isolated showers and thunderstorms will affect our area, but most of the energy will stay to the north across Florida and into the open Atlantic. But we will expect a nice change in the weather. Some cooler temperatures expected for the weekend, but breezy conditions will return once again for the weekend. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Small craft caution in effect for you guys. Southeast is southerly flow at 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 6 feet over the ocean. Your low tide was at 6:35. Your high tide should be just after 1 o'clock in the morning. For the southeast Bahamas, an advisory in place for you guys down there. East to southeasterly winds 20 to 25 knots. Very rough seas, 5 to 8 foot. So do exercise extreme caution down there in the southeast Bahamas. Here's a look now at your family island weather and temperatures for tomorrow. A look now at your extended forecast through next Wednesday. We could get a couple of showers with that frontal boundary as it gets in here on Friday, and then we expect a nice cool down for the weekend. Back to you, Christina.
Good to know. Thanks, Greg. And thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.